Hello. What is up? This is alertwolf here to bring you another review. This time, I'm going to bring you a review on an anime, and it is Hunter x Hunter, episode 67, called 15x15, or 15 times 15, 15, 15. It doesn't matter. But there you go. And, excuse me. And basically, what happens in this episode is this episode opens up and they're just raking in cards. And they end up collecting about 50% of what they need. And so they're getting close to wrapping up the game. They try to figure out what cards they need and what cards they don't need, and they try to consolidate. Now, meanwhile, the big trade between the bomber group and the other group goes off, and the bombers enact their plan, and the plan works. Basically, they use the lucky dice in combination with their leaves or whatever, and they rob them blind of what they need, putting them as the A position. Meanwhile, Gon figures out, Gon starts to wonder why it's so easy for them to get these cards. They should be, other players should have been able to gather these cards. So, in the discussion, Killua realizes that a lot of these guys, or the reasons for these guys not having the cards is they're just looking to go home, and Killua realizes that going home requires a leave card, and that can be hard to come by. So people that hold on to their cards or buy up the more expensive cards, hold on to them to possibly trade for leave cards. So that's when they all get the idea to go down and start trading leave cards for rarer cards. And they do. And it works. They start trading all over and they get even more cards. I think they were all the way up to 60 or 64 or something. During one of their trades, well, I won't even go there yet. So then you get, basically, both the bomber team and the other team both realize that they need a certain amount of cards to win. And they all decide separately that each team really needs to go get the 2 card, which is in a town. So both teams independently transport there. And this will become important later on. But basically, so after all this goes down, Gon is conducting a deal, and he uses his necklace to determine that he's given a fate, because his necklace removes curses off cards. And he starts thinking, he's like, hey, would this work on the people they saw in the beginning of the game, the sick villagers? And they're like, yeah, if they were NPCs, if this was a game event, then yes, it might work. So they go back, and the 3 of them sit down, and they're like, would you trust us with your lives? They think about it, they're like, you guys gave us everything. I mean, they literally did. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I first, and I think I've said this in my review, when I first saw that, I thought they were being conned by these guys. But it turns out that they weren't, which is pretty nice. So they turn into cards, Gon uses the necklace to cure them, and they're just like a C-class card. But when they're revived and back to being, people again, they realize, they give Gon a present, which is their treasure, which is one of the rare cards. I believe it's the 75 card. Now, the moment they get the card and put it in their inventory, they get a call from other players. Now, these other players want to meet up and discuss what's going on in the game. And when they do, basically, it's that one team, the bomber team, is pretty much in the pole position to win. So they need to stop them from winning. And this is where Killua and Asta, I believe is her name. I'm gonna cheat here. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, Asta. She ends up picking a fight with them because she thinks they're little kids. She thinks they're useless. So Killua and her go back and forth arguing, and she's like, well, I don't even see how you guys are useful. He goes, oh, I'll tell you how we're useful. First off, we have one of the rare cards that team needs, which is true, they do, because they just got it. And he's like, I know what their powers are, because they had just said they didn't. And he's like, you know what? She's like, yeah, well, prove it then. If you tell us the information, we'll give you an A card. Killua was like, we could get A cards on our own. Give us two S cards. So that there's that back and forth, and she's like, you're crazy. No, every team here, because it was 6 teams, or whatever it is, or 5 teams. 5 other teams, 6 teams total, are going to give them 2 cards. You're not getting 10 S cards. And he's like, no, I mean from you. The rest of them, I'll figure out what they owe me later. So they argue back and forth. In the end, she gives them the cards, tells them the powers. Now, the part about being touched. So they all like, this dude is really the bomber? Damn it. We're in trouble because he touched most of them got touched. Let's just put it like that. So they may be cannon fodder at some point in the near future, but we'll see. And we do learn some interesting things here. We learn how they use the ranking system, how to check for how many cards are available, the whole 9. They also learn, she teaches them that when you use a spell card, if you don't hit the select on the book, and you just tap the card, you can use the card over and over again, and you're fine. Then she says, if you do up to 50 deals in that store, if you do 50 deals, you start getting very good deals from him. He treats you as a preferred customer. So, and they all exchange important information like this. They talk about the other teams and their different cards and the powerhouse cards they have and all that. And then it's decided that, again, the number 2 card nobody has, and they need to go get it. So they use a group teleport, and they teleport to the town. They get to the town, and, things are weird. Some chicks start spouting off some stuff about things that are going down. And it ends up with them in a room full of pirates, and that's how the episode ends. Now, this episode, it was chock full of useful knowledge, game knowledge, maybe, and progressing the story forward. But this was basically a setup episode. A lot of things got said in this episode, but basically very few things. Nothing really happened action-wise. There was virtually no action. If you count the mugging in the beginning of the episode, there was no action. So these are all things that got brought up, but not, nothing really happened. There were some funny points in the episode. That argument had me laughing. It was really nice payoff for me to see that thing with those villagers pan out and it not to be a scam like I thought it was, because they were naive kids. I liked that a lot. I enjoyed it. But having said all this, it was a 3. It was a 3. It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. It was a good setup episode, but it was just that, a setup episode with very little action happening. But we got put in. We know the story is narrowing, at least for the A story, which is now you have the three groups all converging on the same town pretty much at the same time, trying to get this number 2 card. So eventually things are going to come to a head. So you have that. As for the B story, nothing was really mentioned of the Phantom Troop in this episode, and them hunting a Bengay or whatever it is, however you pronounce his name. and the stuff to free Lucifer. So, I mean, that's all going. That's in the background, but that's not going on now. And you know, the Hisoka stuff and all that. So, but having said this, it looks like there are some pretty strong characters of the pirates or whatever they are. They look like they may be some sub bosses or something like that. So it looks like we may see some fights. That would be nice. But this episode, again, I enjoyed it. It was more adventure than action adventure. You know what I mean? So, and I like getting caught up with these guys. I love Gon and Killua and Biscuit, you know, running around kicking ass and not even bothering to take names, if you know what I'm saying. But all right, I think you guys have heard enough out of me. So click it up if you like it. And again, 3 out of 5. So click it up if you like it. Comment if you must, and please, please, please subscribe if you can. And this is Alert Wolf signing out.